Hello, welcome to Cubs and Culture for January 6, 2018. We will not be discussing Chicago. We will be discussing the recently released movie, The Greatest Showman, starring Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron and a whole bunch of other people, written by Bill Condon and Jill Black, I believe was the woman's name. Bill Condon also wrote Chicago. That's why I'm using Chicago as the image. Okay, so The Greatest Showman is the story of P.T. Barnum. Sort of, not really. Let me begin by talking about three different films that I think are reference points or influencing them. Now, all these films are good, which gets me to the first one. Okay, so there's this god-awful movie from the 1950s called The Greatest Show on Earth. It was a Best Picture winner. It also inexplicably won an Oscar for writing. It stars Charlton Heston and Jimmy Stewart. It's about the Barnum and Bailey Ringling Brothers Circus on a tour. And there's like a love triangle in a fight over the center ring. And at one point, some guy tries to kill a person he thinks is his lover with an elephant. It's a very, very silly, goofy movie. The only thing that's remotely interesting about it is virtually all the circus acts in it were real acts, and it actually somewhat functions as a documentary of a Ringling Brothers Circus show from the 1950s. It's way too freaking long. It's like 3 hours. It's also inexplicably won Best Picture. Anyway, so there's that sort of thing. The Greatest Showman's also one really neat things about it is how quick and how it's spectacle. It's very alive. Okay, then there's also this film from the early 30s called Freaks. If you've ever heard Google Gobble, we accept her. It's from that movie. It's a movie about this sideshow performer who's a little person who is a baron, or he has a lot of money, and a woman convinces him to marry her for his money, and it's about the tension between, and she's not a little person, and the the tension is about between it's sort of dealing with ableism and how the term is human oddities, sideshow performers, how they were treated, and it's a very dark film. It's a very deeply cynical film. That we accept her. It's actually the sideshow performers accepting the woman who married into it at the wedding feast, and she freaks out because how dare the freaks accept her. She's eventually then, through a series of machinations, severely injured and turned into a sideshow performer by the sideshow freaks. And a bit like The Greatest Show on Earth, a lot of the performers in Freaks are actual sideshow performers from that time period, including some from Barnum's shows. And then, of course, the other movie I want to reference, and I already sort of did, is Chicago, written by Bill Condon, where the main sort of thing about Chicago is all the songs take place in Roxy Hart's head. As a way of, because the songs aren't between characters in Chicago, they're actually between the audience and the singer, so they need an audience, so hence in Roxy's head. I think Condon, who's the writer of the Greatest Showman, is doing something similar there. So those are sort of the three films I think about when I saw The Greatest Showman. I like all three to various... Oh, I don't like The Greatest Show on Earth. I like parts of The Greatest Show on Earth. I like Freaks and Chicago a lot. So that's pretty good for section 1. Okay, there will be spoilers for The Greatest Showman in part 2. So warning, I'm going to blow the plot of the film. Okay, see you in a bit.